Why managers struggle with Gen Z employees. Today, I want to talk about a topic every organization is silently struggling with: why managers struggle with Gen Z employees. If you are a manager, you may feel Gen Z is too sensitive, too demanding, or not committed. If you are Gen Z, you may feel managers are outdated, rigid, and not understanding you. The truth is, both sides are right, and both sides are wrong. Let's break this down from an HR perspective. Who is Gen Z at work? Before judging Gen Z, we must understand who they are. Gen Z employees are those born roughly after 1997. They grew up with smartphones, social media, instant access to information, and constant comparison. They entered the workforce during or after COVID, layoffs, economic uncertainty, so stability, loyalty, and patience, these were never guaranteed for them. Key HR insight: Gen Z doesn't reject work, they reject unclear, meaningless work. Different definition of work ethic. Managers struggle with Gen Z because both define work ethic differently. For managers, long hours equal commitment, availability equals sincerity, obedience equals discipline. For Gen Z, output matters more than hours, boundaries matter, mental health matters. When Gen Z logs out on time, managers think no ownership, but Gen Z thinks, I completed my work, why should I stay? HR reality. This is not laziness, this is a shift in mindset. Gen Z questions everything. Managers were trained to follow instructions first, ask questions later. Gen Z is trained to question before accepting. When managers say, just do it because I said so, Gen Z hears, I don't respect your intelligence. Important line. Pause after saying, Gen Z doesn't challenge authority, they challenge logic. Feedback expectations clash. Managers are used to annual appraisal, delayed feedback, silence equals approval. Gen Z expects continuous feedback, instant clarity, regular validation. When Gen Z asks for feedback often, managers feel, why do they need so much reassurance? But Gen Z feels, if you don't guide me, how will I grow? HR truth. Gen Z is feedback hungry, not praise addicted. Low tolerance for toxicity. Previous generations were taught to tolerate shouting managers, political environments, that's how corporate is attitude. Gen Z says, no, I don't want this. Managers see this as weakness, but HR sees this as low tolerance for unhealthy systems. Powerful line. Gen Z doesn't normalize suffering for salary. Career speed expectations. Managers waited 3 to 5 years for promotion, years for recognition. Gen Z expects fast growth, visible progress, skill-based recognition. Managers think they're impatient. Gen Z thinks, why should growth be slow if skills are strong? HR insight. Gen Z values progress, not just position. Digital versus emotional communication gap. Managers prefer face-to-face, calls, formal discussions. Gen Z prefers chats, voice notes, quick updates. Managers feel Gen Z lacks communication skills. Gen Z feels managers overcomplicate communication. Keyline. Both are communicating, just in different languages. The real problem: managers were never trained for this. Here's the uncomfortable HR truth. Managers struggle with Gen Z not because Gen Z is difficult, but because managers were never trained to manage a new generation. Most managers were promoted for performance, not people skills. And now they're managing a generation that demands empathy, transparency, purpose, without training. What HR expects managers to do differently. HR doesn't expect managers to become friends. HR expects managers to communicate expectations clearly, give frequent feedback, respect boundaries, focus on outcomes, not control. managing Gen Z isn't about control, it's about coaching. Conclusion. Managers and Gen Z are not enemies. They're products of different environments trying to work together. The organizations that adapt will thrive. The ones that don't will keep struggling with attrition. If you're a manager, this video is not criticism, it's awareness. And if you're Gen Z, understanding managers will help you grow faster. If you want more real HR insights like this, like, share, and subscribe my channel.